All right, so this is going to be a reading for Leo. And for the Leo that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that you're going through something that is really affecting your confidence and possibly triggering a lot of shame for you. The oracle cards that we have for you today are guilt, sorrow, and experiencing. So you could be in this moment very hard on yourself about something that you did or something that you said or just a way of being that I see you having a lot of regret, a lot of pain over, and it seems to be kind of all consuming. And I see you kind of getting really stuck in your head about this, possibly getting kind of consumed by some limiting beliefs, and as a result, not just having that affect your confidence, but kind of disconnecting you from yourself overall and disconnecting you from what feels good and from kind of knowing which steps to take and just kind of forward movement in general. So it's a very difficult energy, but we're going to dive in here and kind of see what's going on in a second. Before we do, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you would like to lend your energy to the channel to help me manifest messages that resonate more deeply for you, you can like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, I do offer personal readings. You can email me down below in the description box for a personal reading. But let's go ahead and see what's going on here for you, Leo. Like I said, it seems like something really affected your sense of self-confidence and self-reliance. When it comes to really believing in yourself and knowing that you can achieve whatever you need to achieve, it looks like something kind of took place here that led you to kind of reject yourself and your own sense of power and may have really kind of dislocated you from your core, from your rootedness. And there could be kind of a need to reconnect to that. So let's kind of see what's going on with that in the past. There's almost this feeling of like not being able to connect to your intuition or feeling abandoned by a higher power, kind of wondering like, what am I really supposed to do here? What am I doing here? Just, yeah, really being disconnected from your intuition, possibly feeling like you tried to follow your intuition, but you were led astray, or you did the wrong thing, or maybe feeling like you had the chance to step into your higher self and you didn't. And there's some type of incredible disappointment or regret attached to whatever happened with that, that you seem to kind of have realized after the fact. Like maybe something happened and you realized, oh, I should have handled that better, or I knew better than that. Something like that. When it comes to really getting grounded and feeling stable, there's like a lot of desire to move towards that, but instead of feeling really stable, I see you getting really anxious and really in your head and not really grounding yourself. And even when you have the opportunity to ground yourself, is like instead of grounding yourself, you go into that anxious headspace again and you kind of get disconnected from yourself all over again. This could be attached to someone else, like possibly a male figure, an older male figure for some of you. But it's like something that happens with that other energy possibly triggers you and makes you really anxious. This could be like a really important connection for many of you, possibly a soul connection. This could be like a father figure, like I said. It could be a relationship, but whoever it is, it's someone who's very closely connected to you in some way or very important to you. You feel very committed to them, or you have some type of past life connection, and there's some type of pain there. And it could feel like whenever you engage with this person, something gets triggered within you and it makes you very anxious. And this could be kind of what disconnects you from your intuition. And I'm seeing that typically the Leo that I'm speaking to, you're very confident, you're very self-assured. You definitely have that power within you, and you could be a very spiritual person. So this could be a very jarring experience for you to be triggered like this. And you could kind of be wondering, like, what is the spiritual purpose of this? Like, why do I have to go through this? And why is it so painful? And I just see you being very confused in general and not really sure which way to turn. They're kind of showing me I'm so confused by this that I need to cut it off or end it or something. And there's this feeling of wanting to find long term happiness and sort of like a long term solution to this issue, but there's this feeling of like it's never ending or it never reaches a conclusion, or I don't know how to become okay with this situation on a personal level. And it kind of feels like no matter what you do, you're just maybe going in circles, or you just can't find a solution that feels positive for you. In the current energy, I see you attempting to balance this out and kind of making an effort to find balance in this situation within yourself. This possibly involves a specific decision, but in general, it's kind of just like I have to do something um, to make this right, to balance this out. Kind of like I can't continue with these energies being what they are. And I see you kind of making a pretty drastic decision. This could be, it's going to be different for everyone, but it could be to kind of separate yourself from this person or leave a certain scenario. For others of you, you're just kind of making some type of drastic sort of change here, and you're showing me like this is going to help things, like this is going to make it better, everything's fine here. But when it comes to how this actually makes you feel, there's something within you that's kind of suggesting like, wait, like there's something else going on here. You're still kind of disappointed with the whole situation. Like, even though you've made this change, you've kind of made this executive decision, I'm kind of seeing the image of a judge, like, banging the gavel and making a final decision. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're saying, I'm taking my power back. I'm not going to let this control me. I'm making a change. But deep down, there's still something in you that feels disappointed over this connection, possibly over the way that it went, or, wanting to feel that level of success and happiness in this whole situation, but not really ever getting there. And so even though you've kind of attempted to make a change, and you may be even telling other people, like, yeah, it's all good now, I'm working on this, I'm making it better, I'm balancing it out. But just because you've made a change doesn't mean you've actually changed your feelings. And there is some incredible disappointment or regret attached to this situation that is still kind of bugging you. And it comes through almost like as a mosquito, like flitting around. And maybe it doesn't even bite you, but it's always just kind of there annoying you. And every so often when it passes by your ear, you hear that buzzing, right? And you may have, uh, taken all the lengths to remedy this situation, to change things here, to get all of the mosquitoes out of your house, etc., etc. And then you just find that you have this one final mosquito lingering, and that's that feeling of, oh, I'm actually pretty upset about this. And so there are some feelings there that still need to be addressed, and I kind of just see you being like, well, I've dealt with this situation, so that's it and it's done. But when you say that, it kind of ignores the way that you continue to feel. And what it is that is coming up for you that needs to be dealt with is this feeling of whatever it was that you really desired here, it's kind of like that came to an end. I don't know if it was in this situation initially, if it's with this change that you created, but whatever you desired here, it's like it just wasn't possible, or like the dream didn't end up panning out. And it comes through as something that was really important to you, possibly something, maybe you wanted to be partnered with this person and you ended up not being partnered with them, or you wanted to receive their approval and you ended up not receiving their approval, something like that. And whatever that was that happened there, it really affected your sense of happiness. And you're kind of showing me like it's all okay, but again, there's something there that's not okay, and you could be maybe not being totally honest with yourself about how this is affecting your confidence, your happiness, your stability, your emotional well-being. And I kind of see, for whatever reason, Leo, over and over, I keep getting cards that represent Leo, the Six of Wands, the Sun, um, the King of Wands, and you're kind of showing me, yeah, it's fine, I'm totally happy, and you're not, and you're lying to yourself a little bit about that. And when we look into the future, I see you kind of actually beginning to face the pain that occurred here. And once you face it, it's like you immediately relax. You immediately become lighter because you're no longer spending all your energy trying to avoid the way you feel. And so if you're wondering, like, why am I feeling so intensely? It's because there's something here that you're running away from. And the more you run away from it, the more it's going to demand to be felt. And so to you, it may feel like, oh my God, everything's so intense. Why am I like this, etc., etc. And the reason that you're feeling this is because the feelings are meant to be felt. And I see you just being like, well, it would be so much more comfortable if I just didn't have to feel these feelings. Like, life would be so much easier if I could just find a solution to this. And it's interesting because the first card that came out for you was the Nine of Pentacles, which is really about being totally fine on your own, being very self-sufficient, being very self-reliant. And so a person like that is going to be extremely thrown off by these feelings because it's not something that you can just tie up with a nice little bow. And that's what I see you wanting to do, is just kind of neatly resolve your feelings here. And feelings, they can't just be made into a to-do list and checked off. They can't just be, put on a grocery list and then you buy all the groceries and then you're done. Like, they're feelings. They're things you have to feel. They don't have a schedule. They don't have a timeline. Sometimes they don't make sense. And I think that could be what this experience is kind of teaching you, is that it's okay to just feel how you feel. You don't have to reason it out. And I see you kind of being like, well, I handled this situation, it's done. And it's not done. There's still feelings attached to this for you. I feel whatever Leo is listening right now being very resistant to that. Like I said, in the future I see you being like, oh, maybe I should take a look at this. And it's just the slightest examination of what happened here, of what's so painful about it. And as soon as you start to do that, it's almost like your strength starts to return a little bit. You start to be built back up. And you start to honestly feel a lot happier, and you start to be able to envision other types of happiness for yourself. And you start to look at, okay, like, that didn't work out, but what is it that would actually make me really, really excited again? What is my wish fulfillment? And so there's also a piece of this where if you feel disappointed, if you feel like something didn't come through the way that you wanted to, it could also be showing you, oh, I actually really did want that, or that actually was really important to me. So how can I find that in other places in my life? Because just because it didn't work out in this situation doesn't mean it's impossible for you. It just kind of means that, it's something that needs to come through in a different way, which is totally possible, I do see you feeling a lot more relieved in the near future. Just feeling a lot more relaxed. There's love that's going to come in for you in other ways, and I see you kind of realizing that and being like, oh, I just have to go towards other forms of love. Even if it didn't pan out in this way, in this situation, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. So it's actually a very positive outcome for you, Leo. I keep wanting to say Virgo, so you could have some Virgo in your chart. But I just see this kind of turning around for you once you take an honest look at the way that you feel and you start to accept yourself. If you're being very hard on yourself, Leo, for, the way that you acted, or saying, I should have done something differently, I want you to take a step back and maybe shift your perspective and understand that you didn't do anything wrong. This is just a situation that was meant to teach you something, and there's no way that you could have controlled it in such a way that it would have panned out any differently, because ultimately it was a lesson that needed to be learned. And I see you kind of coming to that conclusion, reflecting on this, reflecting on what it is that you really desire, what it is that would make you happy, and feeling really relieved as you realize, okay, I can actually get that in the future, and I can set off towards that in the future. The advice from Spirit today is to use this as a learning experience. See it as an opportunity to learn what it is that you really want and what it is that makes you feel really empowered. And see this as a healing opportunity. And once you begin healing this, I think you're going to come back stronger than you were before. So that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that this helps. I hope that this resonates, and I'll see you next time.